Hey everyone! This is our weekly live stream where we talk about the most important trends in search and AI. We combine both. Usually it's both because they are very connected these days. I'm Anne Smarty. I'm the co-founder of Smarty Marketing, an agency based in New York, and that's exactly what we're doing there. We help businesses on all levels, not just organic search, but also reputation management, AI, visibility in AI answers, as much as we can. And we're using this live broadcast to share what's going on with you and hopefully add some actionable advice as well. We're very action driven, no buzzwords, no theory, just to the point what exactly you need to be doing for each particular trend, news, or whatever. With me today and always April, our social media director, and as well as outreach designer. So many great roles she has, but not necessarily SEO. So she's able to bring a fresh non-SEO perspective and questions to this broadcast, which we are all thankful for. I'm too deep in SEO to speak actual clear language sometimes. So I need those input from people who do not do SEO for a living for as long as I did. Please subscribe and smarty.com. This is where my newsletter lives. I also syndicate to LinkedIn and Medium, but this is the most in my hub where I do other stuff like podcasting from time to time, sharing videos, notes. So it's a great community to be part of and be on top of everything. And there I announce weekly topics that we're going to discuss on this broadcast so that we know what's going on and also share the links to join. A few updates from the industry first before we go to the topic. Core update from Google, core algorithm update from Google has finished rolling out. I think it happened a couple of days ago, so it's time to check what you lost or what you gained. Good update, at least somewhat good, is that a lot of publishers who had been penalized by helpful content updates are seeing some traffic now. Google says news has it, it's 95% growth for many publishers. But in reality, if you look 2 years back or more, it's 5% from what they had lost back then. So not quite a recovery, but to be honest, we don't have as much traffic these days. They are not going back to the levels they had because while they were waiting for those recoveries, we all also lost about from 30 to 60% of traffic through Google AI features. So there's simply not as much traffic these days. So whatever they do, they're not going back to the levels they had. But some traffic is better than nothing, right? So, and there is one good takeaway from those recoveries. Many of them did nothing to recover. Many of them just kept going and using other channels and doing exactly what they were doing before the update. And that means that they were penalized for no reason. They were punished for no reason because now they are seeing recoveries with nothing fixed. So there was nothing to fix in many cases. Yes, there are many SEO experts saying that many of helpful content penalized websites were spammy. Well, what I've seen, most of websites that I've seen, and I know a lot of experts agree with me on that, they were great, very useful websites, and they were penalized again for no reason at all. So I'm happy to see some of them recovering, but none of them is happy, of course, because they are actually not going back to the levels they lost, and that was punishment for no reason at all. Another update from the industry is that actually there are quite a few, so I will try not to spend too much time on that. There is a new study that shows how many clicks are being lost through AI overviews. Please check it out. Actually, I do have a new subreddit now. It's called SEO for AI, SEO for AI. I chose not to go with any new acronyms at this point because I don't know which one to pick. I'm divided here just as like everyone, so I just named it SEO for AI, and there I share all those exciting new studies, new tools, anything that has to do with visibility in AI, building your visibility in AI through all kinds of methods. So that's a great way to see a very carefully curated collection of anything that has to do with AI. So check that subreddit out and join me. There I share that new study showing that we lose at least 50% of clicks anytime. Everyone loses anytime that AI overviews are triggered for search results. Some people do not, more like half of people do not click anything, and they either continue searching or they leave the search result page overall. So those clicks go nowhere. So it's not completely right to say they were stolen because no one gained those links, but they do not exist anymore. 50%, about 50%. I'm sure it depends on the query, but that's the average. And only 1% of those searches click links in AI overviews. As you know, there are citations in AI overviews, just like in AI mode, just like in ChatGPT. And I've always been saying, yes, those clicks are nice to have. They are very few, not if we compare them to organic search, but it's not basically not going to be the replacement for organic search. Our strategy right now is, yes, we optimize for being cited in AI overviews, but the whole goal of our strategy at this point of our SEO and AI strategy is to be part of the answer, is to be the solution to the problem that is in search query or the prompt. And I think this is in the long term going to be more and more important as we lose more and more clicks. So yes, those clicks are nice. We take all clicks we can, but the higher level strategy should always be about being the answer, being relevant, in being known, being part of the training data, being findable in search. And that is aligning to what I'm going to talk next. And that is how important is the traditional SEO for AI visibility, for SEO for AI, however you want to call it. And it's funny, and I'm always smiling when I write articles about that, because at this point, when I cannot choose one acronym, I'm just put all of them in titles. So GEO, AEO, AIO, LLM, or whatever you want to call those. How important SEO, traditional good old SEO, is for all those acronyms that I just listed. So, and let's go back a little bit. 2 years ago, when ChatGPT was launched and disrupted everyone, including Google. Google was frantically catching up with AI technology, trying to push all those AI overviews, AI modes, BARTs, and now it's called Gemini. On us, on users, we were talking about the death of search. And we were talking about all those new channels that are going to be discovery channels for products and brands. And those AI platforms that were coming up, including Gemini, what is called Claude, ChatGPT, all of those platforms, DeepSeek, all of them were not actually searching. They were taking answers from their training data and giving those to their users. In those 2 years, an interesting trend was happening that not many people are talking about. But now, 2 years after the launch, most of the important popular AI platforms search. They do run searches. They depend on search results. That is the only way they can give good, comprehensive, up-to-date answers. So it started with ChatGPT searching Bing, Gemini searching Google, AI mode we know is search based on search index, and AI overviews, of course, they are just summaries of search results. So at this point, all of these platforms, all the major platforms, and Perplexity has always been searching, all of these platforms are depending on search. So how can we even talk about the death of SEO if all the new solutions, after 2 years of trying not to search, ended up searching? Yes, those not people searching, for sure. There are AI agents searching, but it is not much different. They all depend on search indexes, on search results. Not so much on rankings, by the way. They have their own ranking factors, so it's not as much about top rankings as it was 5 years ago, but it's still search index and availability of your pages to search crawlers. So is SEO changing? Yes. By the way, there is no good study if Google is actually losing search users to ChatGPT, because from what we are seeing, ChatGPT is an additional channel to Google. People still use Google a lot, and most of them even go from ChatGPT to Google. So it is too early to say if we are even ever losing organic search users, because search still is very strong, and Google is very strong in the search market as well. Yeah, I mean, if it keeps pushing AI mode on us, probably it will train many of its users not to search, but it will take much longer to us even see that trend. So I would say 10 years at least when people just do not want to search anymore. So even with that, even let's say organic search is changing forever, it happens in a year, for example, all the AI agents are still performing search. It is still traditional search signals that they are using, not traditional search index so much, but traditional search technology. So SEO is as strong as ever, and I'm even more confident in that than I was 2 years ago when we didn't know where the AI technology is going to, because it might as well be search free for years. How would we have known? But now we can see the trend. It is not possible to give great answers without searching. On top of that, and that is not as good news, it has been proven by multiple tests, and again, I shared those in my subreddit, SEO for AI, that ChatGPT has switched from Bing to Google. To me, it's bad news because I was cheering to Bing so much. Google did need a good competitor, and I was hoping Bing would become one, but it looks like it's not happening because the first largest AI player is now also using Google. So Google optimization remains the fundamental part of AI visibility. Without it, however you try, you will not be visible or clickable or both in AI answers. So what are those SEO fundamentals that are going very strong? First, it is to have your own website, because that's where you can control the messaging, you can control accessibility, you can control user experience. Having a website for a business is still the first step to be findable in search or AI. Making that site accessible to crawlers, easy to read for crawlers. It's a little bit going back 20 years ago when we were talking about making sure there is no JavaScript, or if there is JavaScript, that you can use the website without it. Google has been much more advanced. We were not talking about those little things, technology-driven things, for a while, but AI crawlers are still very, very immature, and they will give up on your website if they cannot easily crawl it. So make sure it's all internal linking, it's all very light, very clear, relevant content creation. Another fundamental part that should be there. Of course, you need content on your site. I was talking about that previously. Again, andsmarty.com, a few little things that you can do to your content strategy to make sure It's more AI friendly. For example, focusing more on problem solving content, focusing more on brand knowledge content, and this talking about your brand and problems you're solving. And it, of course, focusing on do queries, so action driven. And one more thing, focusing on content that people talk about. Finally, and luckily, this is our specialty. We create those assets that go viral and get discussed. Great way to be in Reddit, to be linked, to know, to make sure that people discuss and mention your brand. And it is creating content that appeals to those emotions and to those maybe trends that people discuss. That is very important, not to just live on your little website, but have your brand discussed. So creating content, surveys, research, studies, anything you can come up with that is relevant to you, but also very inviting to discuss, very motivational for people to share and talk about your brand. Link building, yes, another very important strategy that is fundamental to SEO. It is, again, just like content, shifting a little bit, so it's not just about any links anymore, but I think it hasn't been about just links for more than 5 years at least. So making sure your links are relevant, talking about you in the right way, place you next to your competitors. All those are great because that is, again, how you get visibility, not just in organic search, but also for AI as well. So with that, I welcome any questions. Again, andsmarty.com is where I discuss this particular topic in more detail and give many more references to everything that I mentioned today for you to strategize, to take action, not just know what's happening. And I know April has a few great questions and I wasn't following the discussion. Maybe.
We have one from the audience.
Hi, Anne and April. Hi, I've been hearing that a lot of bloggers aren't getting much traffic from Google these days, and many are shifting to Pinterest for traffic or affiliate marketing instead. Is that actually true? Like, are small sites really struggling with Google SEO now while only big brands show up? Would love to hear what you've seen. So, a lot of questions in one sentence, and let me try to answer all of them. First of all, it's not just small bloggers, it's all publishers, CNN, New York Times, take any big brand out there. Every content-based, so every article, every publication, or every business that relies on content and traffic that it drives is struggling with getting those clicks these days. For small publishers, this journey started earlier. They started about more than 2 years ago when they were struggling with Google's organic visibility because they were punished by helpful content update. But at this point, everyone is struggling, and that trend is being made faster by AI overviews and AI mode for sure, because like I said, all those AI features are not even stealing clicks, they remove any need for a click. So anytime you talk about informational content, not products or anything like that, even instructions, so anytime, in most cases, anything that has to do with content as the answer, those clicks are fewer and fewer. So at this point, all those small businesses that were relying on content and content-driven clicks, can now say we are in the same boat as the well-established huge publishers like publications and news media. Another thing about driving Pinterest traffic, driving something else, it has been a smart idea for a while because we've seen Google traffic fluctuating or doing whatever it wants to websites. So it is still a great idea. necessarily switching. I would say diversifying your channels is a great idea. I talked to a lot of bloggers. I went to blogging conferences. Many of them had the same story. We were able to survive because we started a Facebook group and it picked, or we started doing something on Pinterest, or we started doing something on Instagram, or we started doing something on Reddit or LinkedIn, depending on where your audience is. I, for example, I doubled, I don't know, tripled my activity on LinkedIn. Twitter was pretty much okay, but I wasn't paying attention to LinkedIn for many years. And then I realized that that is where my audience is, so I will start doing something there. And I think a lot of B2B companies have the same story as well. So whatever you do depends on, of course, your niche and where your audience is, but diversifying, syndicating, like I would syndicate my newsletter to a few platforms for that exact reason. That is diversification of building visibility, building traffic in case of bloggers. So yes, for sure, makes sense. Doesn't matter whether you're a big or small brand. Again, going out there, and it also, most of that helps SEO and helps AI visibility as well. So investing into diversification of your channels makes a lot of sense on many levels.
Got a question from Lisa.
How long is still the way to go? Does it not really matter? So, no one answer to that. I've never been a fan of creating long form content because anytime you start trying to apply one rule to all cases, it's a huge possibility you're doing something wrong. But newer tactic, which is not new, it's good old new tactic that is making a return, is clustering. So you create one long page on very comprehensive guide, but you also have a lot of supporting content you link to that explore that topic in much more detail, many more specific problems. We've been doing that for as long as I can remember. It has always been the long tail search query. Different experts and companies would come up with different terms for that tactic. It was creating keyword content. It was clustering. I don't even remember all the names that that strategy was given, but it still makes sense. Not that I've ever stopped doing that, but at this point, this makes a new return. So if you are targeting a keyword and there are a lot of long tail queries that dig deeper into the topic, instead of trying to optimize one page for everything, create one comprehensive guide about the topic, about the top keyword, and then drill it down on some more specific guides. That is a new strategy that has been around for at least 15 years now.
Great, and now I guess that were my questions. Is it possible that AI uses reviews that are visible in Google search for choosing recommendations?
Oh, absolutely. And I've been talking about fanning out technique that both ChatGPT and Gemini and AI mode are using is when you ask product related questions like, what's the best skincare, like what's the best organic skincare for a teen, let's say. They would not just find products for you using search, but those platforms would also add brand name reviews to each product they found and do separate searches to compile that all in one article, in one answer. I don't say that article, but in one answer. And what interesting things are that in ChatGPT was found to also search site:/reddit.com and brand name there. So it's not just people searching for your brand names and product names on Reddit. ChatGPT is doing that. They're very similar searching behavior than people have. So yes, it is much more important at this point, like 10 years ago, organic search reputation management was just about top results, top 5, top 10, depending on how big the brand is. Now it's all your digital footprint. It's taking into account, you cannot impact all of that, but making sure you balance that. You add good reviews. You make sure your happy customers are commenting on local maps or Trustpilot or whatever you're using. It's also making sure your voice is on Reddit. That is what we are doing for the clients as well, like making sure you are transparently contributing to that Reddit sentiment from your using your official transparent messaging. So all of that is very important for AI search. I mean, it's always been important because people would use Google to research you. But now AI agents, AI searches are digging even deeper, and they are not always using the most obvious search results that rank for your brand name. They would find other comments from people, especially on Reddit. So, yep, absolutely. They are doing that additionally to any question you ask about products. You don't even have to ask them to do that. Most of the searches, most of the platforms will do that for you without you ever asking.
Makes me wonder because I've always as long as I can remember, I've always researched products, but by typing the name and then read it to see Reddit threads about it. It makes me wonder if AI saw people or while it was learning observed people doing that repeatedly, so it just started doing that itself, or if that was something that was programmed into it.
It is a scary thought. It is a scary thought how much they are watching us and trying to replicate what we are doing in their algorithm. But probably that's what's happening because you don't have to program AI. That's why it's called artificial intelligence.
Yeah.
It learns itself. So quite possibly that's how they were trained to use Reddit, just because most people are doing that anytime they're trying to make certain buying decisions. So that's a very good but scary thought for sure.
My next question, in the article you posted before this for this podcast, you mentioned how top 10 lists or top 20 lists are really important to show up in AI. How do you recommend a brand or product get on lists like that?
Well, outreach is probably the most obvious one, but your on-site content, create those lists on your site as well. That's where you can control that sentiment. Lots of brands are doing that as long as it's well researched and neutral, as well as you are not just praising yourself, but make sure that you have very well defined product positioning without necessarily praising yourself. So tell why you're best for that particular audience, but list other brands that are better for other types of audiences, or occasions, or problems. All those well researched product positioning articles and listicles are great content for your official website. So just manufacturing that relevancy, nothing wrong with that in case you are doing that right. Of course, there is a fine balance between right or wrong, and most businesses try to scale things down to the point when it is mostly wrong. But my idea here is that as long as you take that seriously, and reaching out to all those publications, sometimes they take only affiliate links, and that's fine too, because at least you're next to your competitors, even if you have to pay some affiliate. So it's case to case, nothing easy here, but try learning from what you're doing and doing it better. We do not have a standalone outreach service just for that reason, because we can sell it as the package, but just to do outreach is nothing we can do because it's always very custom. Sometimes you have to create something on the site to be able to get into those lists. Sometimes you have to do the whole community management program before you can reach out to all those editors. So it's very, very custom and very difficult task for sure. But starting somewhere is already better than doing nothing, I would say. Make it our motto. Do something better than nothing for sure. So start somewhere.
I keep trying things.
Yep. And with that, thank you so much. Again, nsmarty.com is where you can subscribe to follow all our weekly talks and talks. And I also link to landing pages that will have replays once we're done here. Joining us live is a great idea because you can interact with us, and we love talking to people here as well. But not necessary. You can see the replays and you can read everything in my newsletter when you have time. We are all busy. And again, big news for me personally is that I'm trying to promote my subreddit. First, my subreddit in my lifetime. Never done that. So it's a new venture for me for sure. So please, SEO for AI, join me there, contribute. I have to be very, very focused there. So if I do reject articles or submissions, it's just because they are not AI relevant. I do want to build a resource about building your visibility in AI, not SEO, not even AI search, but I'm focusing on AI answers in most cases, but sometimes any AI driven visibility, even if it's clicks, is also a good idea. Just make sure it's AI and it's for business. So SEO for AI. Thank you so much for joining us today. Please come next week, always Wednesdays, always 1 p.m. EST. If you subscribe to nsmarty.com, you will know the link to join before the event happens. Thank you so much and have a great day. Thank you, April.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye.